You know, there's this hidden weight we really need to talk about. It's this pressure that's just silently building up on so many young people today. And honestly, for far too many, it's becoming absolutely unbearable.
So it begs the question, right? Why? Why are so many young people feeling completely overwhelmed to the point of actually giving up? It's a question that recent headlines are basically forcing all of us to ask. And look, it's tempting to search for simple answers, but if we really want to make a difference, we have got to understand the why behind it all.
All right, so first things first, let's just look at the reality of the situation here. Because this isn't just a few isolated incidents we're talking about. No, we're looking at a deeply, deeply concerning trend. I mean, a recent wave of just tragic student suicides has really brought this whole conversation out into the open. And the easy answers, they just don't cut it. They're not enough. The reality is, well, it's way more complex, and it's hidden just beneath the surface. So, what is hiding beneath the surface then? Well, for so many young people, it boils down to this single crushing weight, this unrelenting, almost impossible pressure to be perfect. And we need to make a really crucial distinction here. A lot of the time, we point to psychiatric illness, and look, that can absolutely be a factor, for sure, but it's an incomplete picture. The really overlooked cause, the one we're going to unpack right now, is this immense, intense pressure from family and society to succeed, especially when it comes to academics.
Just think about this number for a second. In India alone, somewhere between 80 and 90,000 students face extreme psychological turmoil every single year while they're preparing for medical entrance exams. We're not just talking about exam stress here. This is a state of vulnerability so intense it can literally lead to a complete breakdown.
And this is the kind of environment that pressure creates. There's a phenomenon known in Hindi as bhir chal. It literally translates to a sheep's walk. You know what we'd call it? A rat race. It's a total herd mentality, where the only questions anyone seems to care about are about grades and admissions. And that singular focus, well, it sets a very, very dangerous trap.
Okay, so where is all this intense pressure actually coming from? Let's break down the anatomy of it.
A huge source is a term I'm sure many of you have heard before: helicopter parenting, right? It's that constant hovering, monitoring every single move. And, it often comes from a place of love, of course it does. But the effect? It's suffocating. It completely strips away privacy, autonomy, and just the space for a kid to simply be. And this hovering, it often goes hand in hand with constant comparison. You've heard it, right? Oh, look what your brother accomplished. Or, did you see where your cousin got into college? This isn't motivation, folks. It's the opposite. It actively erodes a person's self-worth, and it makes them feel like they are never, ever good enough.
And that right there highlights the fundamental flaw in this whole approach. There's a great quote from psychiatrist Dr. Javed Iqbal who says, "God has created every human being with uniqueness." It's so true. We all have different abilities, different strengths, and trying to force everyone down the exact same narrow path, well, that's just a recipe for disaster, for unhappiness.
Have you ever seen the movie Tare Zameen Par? It's called Stars on Earth in English. If you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A child who might not be an A student could be a brilliant artist or a natural-born entrepreneur or an amazing mechanic. But all those incredible talents get completely crushed when the only thing we measure success by is grades.
So, what happens when this pressure finally becomes unbearable? It can set off this tragic chain reaction, like a line of dominoes falling. Let's actually trace that psychological path, from feeling pressured to feeling like you want to quit everything.
So here's how it often plays out. It starts by internalizing all that negativity, all those comparisons, until this core belief forms deep inside:
I am not good enough. Then something happens, a trigger. Maybe it's a failed exam or rejection from a job. And that event, it feels like proof. It confirms their deepest fear, and that can push them into a severe depression. From there, what's called a quitting tendency can start to emerge. They might want to quit their job, end a relationship, just withdraw. And tragically, when that feeling keeps escalating, it can lead to the desire to quit life itself.
And please, do not underestimate how severe this state is. As Dr. Iqbal points out, the anguish that comes from this kind of stress, it's not just all in your head. He says it can be more agonizing than even severe physical pain. Just let that sink in for a moment.
Which brings us to, honestly, the most important question of all. What can we do about it? Because this is not one person's problem to solve. Not at all. It is our shared responsibility.
This responsibility, it really lies with every single one of us. Parents, siblings, friends, the entire community. And it really comes down to two things. First, we have to build our own resilience to face challenges. But just as importantly, we need to be there to support and protect the people around us when they're the ones who are struggling.
You know, it all really boils down to this one simple but incredibly powerful piece of advice. Be careful. Be careful with your words. Be careful with your gestures. Your casual remarks, your actions, they all have weight. And you can either add to someone's burden or you can help lighten it. And that choice is ours to make every single day.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. In our own daily lives, with our families and our communities, how can we, you and I, start to shift from being another source of pressure to becoming the support system that someone out there so desperately needs? Because finding the answer, well, it could literally save a life.